Hey, everyone. So, this is a new format for me, but I'm going to do my best to present it. So, what we have today is a topic I would like to talk about, but I thought it'd be good to present in this way and get to it. So, have you ever felt that the idea of being fast or getting to a certain speed is something that is unobtainable, or would take too long, or by the time you get it, it quickly diminishes and it's gone? Well, I kind of thought that way for some time, but it's kind of dawned on me recently with examples and my own journey that you can build this speed quicker than you think, and you can get to these levels that are beyond what's considered average and get to that point. If you want to, we can actually become a top 1% performer, an elite performer, if you will, in terms of like long distance speed, or in terms of an athletic prowess, if you will. So that's what I want to go through with you today. Okay, so here we are. We have achieving elite level speed is within your grasp by me. Okay, let's get to it. I'm so excited to try this. I think it's recording. Yep. Okay, it was cool. It seems to be recording. Yes. Hang on. Yep. Okay. Cool. Sorry, just still trying to figure this out. It's definitely recording. Okay. Whew. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Now, what we've been conditioned to believe. Let's start with breaking down what we've told. So initially, I guess what I thought was speed was something that would only be available to us for a certain window of opportunity, a very short period of time. I.e., say, for 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, maybe maximum 25, but that's it. Soon after that, you finish and you just can't compete anymore. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Another one being we lose speed quickly. That's not also kind of necessarily the case, and I kind of want to share that with you again today. It takes too long to develop. Again, does it really? Let's break that down. It's too hard to maintain. Well, is it? So, another one. It's too late for me to start. Rubbish. It's not too late for you to start. Everyone is way faster than me. Who's everyone? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the 1%? Are you talking about someone at your work, your school? Give me some context. Let's reframe that and talk about like the whole population and averages and people that actually go running. I will never be able to compete athletically. Rubbish. Again, you are an athlete. If you follow my protocols and you follow what I'm telling you to do through life cycles and by tuning into these videos and listening to my advice, you will be able to compete athletically. And if you believe in yourself and adopt that athletic mindset, you can do it, which is the whole purpose of today's video, to inspire you. So, next one. My story and results. I wasn't particularly someone that was great at long distance. For me, I was a 100, 200 meter runner and a relay runner. I could do long jump and that was it. That was the full scope of me being able to do anything on the track and field, so to speak. But after finishing year 12, I thought, well, this idea of running seems interesting. How can I go about doing a 5K, and how would that actually turn out? And that's kind of where we go to this first screenshot. So this is what's known as Strava, which is basically Facebook for athletes. And if you want to start your athletic journey, and I would recommend this is the absolute best way to start, and this is a phenomenal website. It's free. Of course, there are premium features, but you don't need them. And it tracks everything. It tracks your runs, it gives you metrics, and it gives you a record of something to refer to. So for example, when someone's trying to do a video like this, you've got some evidence you can call upon, right? So this right here was the first time I believe I did for my 5K. I've blurred out some stuff because of where I live and whatnot. but basically I did it in 23 and a half minutes. So at the time I thought that was all right, and I pushed myself pretty hard. I might have been doing some like shorter runs before that, but I don't think it took long to run this 5K, and that was what I considered great at the time. Now, the plot thickens a bit more with this. It wasn't actually until some years later, so this is in 2015, in 2019, I hopped back on the running bandwagon and kind of had some better shoes and decided, let's give this another crack and do some proper training. Here's where I was able to get to at the end of this training. 19 minutes and 31 seconds. The fastest time I've ever recorded when it comes to running a 5K. And for me, the biggest thing for getting to this level of speed was two factors. One, I'm doing some level of consistent training and being like showing up. Two, was the competition. For me, it turns out that I actually thrive or do better when the pressure's on for athletic events. I didn't do so well as a kid when the pressure was on for different things, like when I used to yo-yo, but I'll touch upon that another time. But when it comes to something like sporting and something I just simply had to move my legs, I was actually able to do pretty all right. And this was actually the result of my second, I believe, what's known as a park run on this area. So this is a good course, a good day, lots of competition, really fast people, really inspiring, and training. So I've been conditioned. And I remember doing that run and following a person the whole way who was pretty quick. And you'll see, it's not here, but I can get up the splits. And they're all basically, I think, a bit over 4 minutes, and then towards the end, I think they get faster. But I followed the guy the whole way, and he was really helpful because he was setting a really fast pace, and he seemed like the same age as me. So that was really inspiring to be like, well, he's the guy to follow if I want to get this PB. And in fact, he was. And at the end, I did overtake him, and that felt super rewarding. But reflecting back on this, to get to that point of speed, it didn't seem that my training was overtly full on or structured in a way that it has been recently. So around this time for conditioning, I did some runs, but for the most part, I would ride my bike to university or work. So university at the time, I would do a ride on the weekend, sometimes 2 rides. I'd push myself on those rides to climb very difficult mountains at certain speeds. And that would kind of be the speed development to get used to pushing myself and pushing my heart to carry that oxygen around, to be comfortable exerting myself. So that was kind of that. But I mean, there's quite a time gap between here and here. But I guess at this point I was, say, probably 19 years old. This point I was probably 22, 23, maybe. So still youngish. But I'll continue my story and my results, and this will get kind of a bit more interesting and a bit more inspiring. Oh, there we are. Hang on. Here we are. So, me running again in 2023 when I'm 26 to turning 27 years old, right? So, I started running again in late March, and my first 5K I did was a time of 28 minutes and 43 seconds. Quite slow compared to the 5K I did in 2019, and quite a lot slower than the 5K I did in 2015, right? So pretty darn slow. But that's the thing. You see the date here is the 20th of March. And after kind of developing the routine of running once, twice, 3 times, sometimes 4 times a week, shortly after you'll see that on the 27th of May 2023, I was able to do a park run, another good opportunity, competition like I said, fast crowd. I trained. Done some actual proper speed work this time. And bam, what do we have there? 20 minutes and 11 seconds. Pretty close to my fastest run ever, with what seems like 68 days between getting off my ass or 2 months and 7 days to running that speed. Pretty nuts, hey? And you'll see the splits here as well. So the reason it's 2011 is because this was a bit over 5K. So I took the splits down here. So you see 343, 410, 413, 43, 42. Now, I guess I get excited when it comes to racing, but I should advise you that it's better to have this as the last K and kind of do a negative split where the first half, these two are slower and then these are the fastest. But of course I get excited, and sometimes checking the ego is a bit harder than it seems. So this gives me 20 minutes and 11 seconds. Now, how exactly does that compare to 5K running averages? Well, I've had a look on the internet. I know the internet of all things. And it seems that looking at parkrun's the thing that originated out of the UK, and they've got some courses that are considered quite fast in terms of generally a lot of people that are into fitness and running go there and put their best effort in. So that seems like somewhat of a good indicator to see, well, where are people actually at? So I believe the fastest course is in what's known as Pegwell, and that average is 28 minutes and 35 seconds. And this is almost 8 minutes faster than that. Pretty quick, right? And I'll give some more examples, but I kind of want to touch on, again, this whole losing speed and building it back up. So around this time, shortly after, I think I may have gotten COVID, or I got sick, and I got lazy, and I had to bring this back up. So, with a new goal in mind, me and my girlfriend decided to sign up for what's known as the City to Bay, which is a running race. It's a fun run. You can either do, I've skipped too forward. You can either do 6Ks or 12. We just did 6, right? You'll see 6K runner. And this is pretty crazy. I don't recall doing a lot of conditioning for running 6K runs. I've mostly done the 5 and the 4s. And this is September. So it's kind of building back the running yet again. And actually I remembered on the Friday, because this took place on the Saturday, I believe. On the Friday, I ran a 6K around my area, and I didn't feel particularly fast or ready for this race. So I was like, let's see how we go. And it turns out that I ended up placing 24 out of, I think it was a total of 500 people signed up under the 6K runner category. The thing is, I'll caveat and say not everyone in there appeared to run. They seemed to show signs or times of walking. However, they must have set that up as a goal to do the run to some extent. So I feel that even if we take half of that out and say it's only 1,000, that's still a pretty good result, right? And it could also be the point that a lot of the fast people actually did the 12. But I still think there's some pretty decent results in the 6 too. So let's go with this. Now, factor in another thing. During this day, when I got there, it was really busy. And there was a long line kind of before the start. So what this meant was a lot of people were actually bunched up. So the first K was actually the hardest in the sense that I had to find my rhythm and get through a lot of people to kind of be in a space where I could open up my stride and kind of have focus without having to dart around people. And that's kind of where I came into the next level. And so by that, after that, I was kind of able to be a bit more relaxed. And like I said, I got this I noticed that when I got there on the day, didn't have the best sleep, got there a bit late. So this time of 20:52, I feel if I'd gotten there a bit earlier, didn't have to avoid heaps of people, could have positioned myself more at the front. I feel I probably reasonably could have got to 24:30. I feel. Now, when I ran the first K, I looked down at my watch because it beeps every K and it said, look, you're running like low fours. You're running like 4:04, 4:03. I don't know, like thinking, this is interesting. Let's see how long this lasts. But you know what? I'm feeling all right. Let's see how we go. So maybe it was partially dangerous for me to have that mentality because I still had to keep that up for another 5Ks. It's pretty tricky, right? And that's where it gets really interesting because to set myself up for this, I put my big ass sunglasses on so the sun wasn't annoying me. I had my earphones in and I was playing my favorite music to kind of get me in the zone, like this relaxing video game music, which I love. And like I shared with my friend that day, I said, look what I like ran this PB to. And he just looks at the music and he just started laughing. And it was kind of like that. But it got me in this meditative state where I was able to breathe and be calm and just go about it and kind of push that pain a little bit to the side. This became particularly helpful in the last K and a bit where the sun really opened up on the road and that concrete reflecting off the concrete was really, really hot. And I noticed because I pushed myself so much, as I crossed the finish line, I threw up a little bit. But like, it's just, a little something. Now, of course, during this run, I didn't stop to have any water. I just kept powering through the water stations. Don't take the water stations. If you're running the 6, they're going to slow you down, you're going to get stitched, and your time will suffer. So, heard that from me first, right? That's how you set these times. That's how you beat the average time. So, that was insane, right? It's, again, defying expectations and really setting up in your mind what you can actually achieve and get to a level where you're just, I'm 27 here, you're actually doing really, really bloody well. So let's transition into some other examples of like real world beyond myself for a second. So we have here a bloke called Chris Harper. He is a professional road cyclist who rides for, I think now, a team called Jayco that ride giant bikes. This is him. And he turns 30 this year. So, where I live in Adelaide, there's this big ass race called the Tour Down Under. And in particular, there's this segment of road or climb which is called Norton Summit. And if you've been to Adelaide or know anyone that cycles in Australia and has been to Adelaide, this is probably the most famous or well-known and well-done climb by people from all over the world. People ranging from first-time bike riders, weekend warriors, people that are in bike clubs, athletes, people that are on the pro circuit, people that want to get to the pro circuit, the top pros like this bloke, Chris Harper. Now, of course, he's been riding for a while, but let me just give you some context. So he turns 30 this year, right? But he was able to set the record for this climb, which is absurd. So this ride he did, this 5.4 kilometer distance ride with greater than 5% with total 72 meters of vertical elevation in 11 minutes flat, like 11:00. This is insane. This is absurd. This is the new world record, right? And of course, we've actually had situations in previous years where the actual pro peloton, the group of the race, has actually ridden through this climb. So they've already set pretty fast records along here already. But this bloke Chris comes along almost in his 30s and just shows everyone on a training day, hey, here's how I'm feeling today. It just absolutely obliterates. See, for me, when I was at my peak of cycling, which I'm going to get back to, I had a time of 17 minutes. So he's taken another 6 minutes off that just to show who's the top dog. And I thought I was pretty fit at this, and it actually did give me pretty decent numbers, but it's just insane. Like, he was able to set that time. Obviously, he's conditioned his body, he's ridden for a while, he's used to it, he probably does some really hard training, but still, it's crazy, isn't it? I'll give you another example, because you might be thinking, well, what about me? I'm older, I'm not the fittest person, I haven't trained a lot, I'm a bit overweight, I've got some bad habits. Well, what about me? And I'll answer that with a second example I'm going to talk about today. A bloke called Richard, or he goes by Rich Roll in America. This guy has a really cool story, and if you've got some time, I'd recommend you'd get his book and read it. It's called Finding Ultra. So, this guy, pretty fit as a kid. He actually ended up swimming and getting into Stanford University, and was actually on track to be an Olympic level swimmer, which is insane. After finishing, he went the corporate law route in, I believe, Los Angeles. But through working in corporate law and some demons that he had, he more or less became an alcoholic, and by 31 he admitted himself into rehab as that. So then his number one goal after that was to simply be sober. But in the process, he didn't realize or pay much attention to his overall health. And a daunting moment for him was when he tried to climb up a flight of stairs, and he realized that he was actually having like heart palpitations and was seriously struggling to complete it. And he characterizes himself as being overweight. I believe he was 210 pounds, and said he was addicted to junk food. So bad habits still. So his fitness weight loss journey actually starts at 40 if we think about this. So by some definition, he's considered old at this point. But that's when he actually started cleaning up his diet. He went down the vegetarian route, and then he found incredible progress through getting back into swimming, running, and then I believe cycling. Eventually, he transitioned over to being a vegan athlete, so he completely cut out the dairy and the eggs as well. And then he set his sights on what's known as an Ironman, which is like a triathlon, but double the distance, I believe, or maybe more. And then he ended up qualifying for what's known as a invite-only event, where it's known as the Ultraman on Hawaii, which is sort of like 3 of these across 3 days, which is absolutely absurd. I think they're like, the Ultra is like, I think it's like a double Ironman across 3 days, which is just stupid. But like, by age 43, he was doing these, right? And by the first day, because he's such a good swimmer, he ended up finishing first, which is insane, right? But by the second day of now he did 2 years back to back. He did 2007, 2008. I'm talking on 2008, which is his best performance. In 2008, on the second day, he had a major bike crash, and he documents this in his book. And he thought it was actually impossible almost to pedal. He had to pedal with one leg, basically, because the other crank was busted on his bike. And he had to like repair the seat and this and that. But then he still ended up going back to it and doing pretty good on day 3, and ended up finishing 7th overall out of, I don't know, I think it's 50 or 100 people. But that's a pretty good result for someone that at 40 considered himself still overweight and not happy with his body, and cleaning it up within 3 years is pretty insane if you think about it. Having a crash and recovering and still finishing 7th, going back to his first year, being 42, 2 years into his fitness journey, or his renaissance, if you will, 11th overall. Pretty insane, all right? And pretty inspiring. That's what I want to share with you today and get you thinking about. Third example. Now, so I'll just show some pictures of Rich to just give some context, just to inspire you, because I was meant to show you that before. So, hang on, it's on the other screen. Bring it back to here. Okay, cool. Here's him at 40, right? Overweight. And there's him looking on the right after he got into his running and this and that. Here's him pictured at... Oops, no, this photo I want to use. Here's him pictured at... Try to blow this up a bit. Here's him pictured at 51. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty fit, he's shredded. And then again, trying to get a recent photo, but the closest I've got at the moment is him at 57. He still looks pretty good. Like, he looks pretty lean around the face, his shirt's not off, but he still looks like he's got a pretty good physique. It's pretty inspiring, eh? So, let's go back to our third example. Eliud Kipchoge. He is heralded as being one of the best long-distance runners the world has ever seen, particularly in the marathon. He's always been talented and he's always pushed himself. On the 12th of October 2019, this bloke managed to, at age 34, he managed to run the marathon in under sub 2 hours, which is something that people have thought, 42.195 kilometers, impossible. Now, even though he ran that in under 2 hours, 1 hour, 59 minutes, it wasn't technically official because of certain things they did and how they more or less facilitated the race. You know, they used, a car that had lasers pointed at the ground. He had runners in front of him to break the wind so he knew what speed to go at. He had like a bottle passed to him that allowed him to like have a certain amount of liquid but not too much. Like, the level of intricacy behind this was insane. But in terms of something that he's done and that has been recognized, he set the fastest marathon record in Berlin in 2022, the age of 33, of being 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds. So again, older than 30 and older than, say, 2025 and smashing it. Pretty inspiring. And his latest marathon time in Boston Marathon, 2023, age 38. Now, I will add a caveat that people have speculated that he is older than he states he is. So if we're saying he's at least 38, he could be potentially 40, 41. It's pretty impressive, right? Around 2 hours, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Pretty inspiring. Of course, this guy has a pretty full-on training program. He eats, sleeps, breathes training. He's been referred to as almost a monk in terms of his dedication to fitness and whatnot. But I want him to serve as an example to inspire you that you can do this, right? Or at least age isn't exactly the barrier that you thought it might be, particularly with Rich starting from where he started. So how does this kind of track into what I was getting at before? All averages, right? So 5K running averages and elite times. So I've taken some statistics by runninglevel.com and Vitesse. And look, I'm just going to try and get them up if I can. How do I do? If I go escape, go to there. Let's get these up and show you what the kind of running averages and charts are. So I'm not talking rubbish. Age, gender, boom, here we go. So it seems that the fastest are set 20, 25, 30. But you'll see from 35, 40, it doesn't really taper off by that much. World record being not too, well, that's for women, and then for men, where's men? Men, here we go, men. Men not tapering off that much. What? That's 30 to 35, that's what, 12 seconds slower. And then another 30 by 40, and then what, another 30. That's pretty good. These are the world records, mind you. This is elite time. So this is like the fastest person on earth. This is the fastest bunch of people on earth. These are people that train, and you'll see me running 19:30, age 20, less than 25, puts me at advanced. Pretty nuts. And even lately, running 2011 puts me between here and here. right? Pretty crazy. Or this side, but you get the point. So that's the running averages for there. Now, also, we found that there was a blog article in 2023 that used Strava information. So Strava, what I was saying before, Facebook for athletes. They compiled information from 2022 to 2023. And I also believe that they collected data from 35 million runs and also considered the runs that took place over 20 years of data and looked at 28,000 races to get like a mega statistics. This is like unheard of stuff with people, track their runs on here. So this is like crazy levels of information. And they kind of looked at what the average time was, and I believe, hang on, I was meant to write this in here. Hang on, Runners World blog. Let me find the exact answer on what the average is. Whoops, on my end. It's this one. I think it's this one. So they found that the average 5K running time, where is it? They have percentiles. So I guess if average is between 90 and the first, seems like the average is probably around the middle, right? 32, 34, even 30, I believe. Right, so here are, for males, they've written it. 31 minutes and 28 seconds. It's not that fast. You can do that. Even me on my first run back, like 28 minutes, still faster than the average. Running in 1936 puts me in the almost the first percentile. And is that men or was that women? Sorry, this is men. Sorry. Almost puts me puts me closer to being in the first percentile. Pretty insane, right? And this is like real data. Now, going back to what I was saying for park runs, fastest park run in UK, Pegwell, 28 minutes, 32 seconds. The park run I ran 20 minutes and 11 seconds, Torrance. One of the fastest I live in. 30 minutes and 52 seconds is the average there. So pretty close to what Strava's showing. So to simply become the top 1% runner for men, you just have to run, seems to be in here, based on this data, 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Pretty achievable, I think. It kind of takes these times and saying elite. Yeah, pretty. So this is trying to say like you're the 1%, and this is like the 1% of 1%, basically. So to get to this level, you just have to run. And what's really, really exciting, which I'd love to share with you guys today, is that this kind of documented that it seems that statistically 5K average times have gotten slower over the years, meaning it's easier than ever to be at the top of the pack and to be faster than most people around you. So whatever notion you have in your head that people that are faster than you, they've probably just been training a bit longer than you, or they have slightly better dietary choices, or they have just a better mindset in terms of tolerating the pain of being able to push themselves. But what's really, really cool is if we follow this link, if it wants to work, you can actually calculate your current time and where you sit, which is super inspiring, right? So, 5K I did, finish time, not an hour. Say, let's take my best time ever, 19 minutes and 36 seconds. Male, I was 20 to 29. Calculate. Boom, I was top 1.56%. And at that time, I hadn't even really considered myself to be that fast. The person that ran the race on the day ran it in about high 17s, maybe 17:30. So he would be top 1%. I was pretty close, it seems. Not bad. So this is something that you can use to inspire yourself. Oh, hang on, males. Okay, sorry, that's average of men and women. Just taking men, I'm the top 2.76. So not even at my, say, what I know I can get to my peak if I really push it with lots of training, not bad. So like I said, the fastest person was 17 something. Yeah, makes him about the 1% of that day that we did the park run. And if you see in park runs, some people that win generally around a 17 or like a low 18, people that really turn it up. So this shows I'm faster than, I don't know if this is right, but it says I'm faster than 98.4% of runners, which is pretty crazy, right? So that's an hour to do a 5K. So I don't know if this kind of extrapolates it too long, but anyways, still what it is. And this is based on 34 million race results. It's pretty inspiring. So I think if you do like a 5K, of course, scale up to it. And I would advise not running 5K. And if you are like overweight, wait till your BMI is within a certain range, I believe 20 to 24, and then consider running. Use the protocols I advise in my Life Cycles ebook to shred that weight and shred it off quickly in a safe, injury-free manner, and then consider doing some running. Put your first 5K time is, condition yourself up, do 1K 1 week, then 2Ks the second, 3rd the fourth, 4Ks the following week, and then 5Ks by the 5th week. And then put in your first 5K time, see where you get to, right? Pretty cool. So, to get to be 0.1% men, age 20 to 29, you have to run 15 minutes. Pretty quick, but not too crazy either. To be for 50 to 59, 18 minutes. So these times aren't that slow, like from there to there isn't double. It's not 30 minutes, it's just 20. So it seems that we actually retain our speed for quite a while when you look at this actual data. And based on what I've shown in here, it doesn't seem like it takes that long to get to that fast upper echelon. But of course, to get to that really fast echelon, it will take a bit more training. But you're not a million miles away, right? So where am I going with this? Anyone can achieve this. Boy, girl, old, young, previously overweight, previously an alcoholic, thought too old, thought you're an embarrassment. What you need is discipline. Consistency is important. Getting into a meditative state like I do when I run, having the music going, will take you to be able to focus and really push your pain to see the absolute level you can go. In an environment such as a park run, which is free, you can push yourself by yourself, where there's no one else, while others will inspire you to run faster because it's exciting, the heart goes faster. Now, to be faster than the average, it's actually not that hard, right? And even to be the top 1%, it's not out of your reach either. So to be 0.1%, you have to just simply be really passionate. And if you put enough time into it, you can achieve it. It just kind of frames the context that you can conquer mountains, conquer life, and do so in a way that puts you in a very rare position that you thought was not actually that far away, or would be diminished, or would take too long to get to, or would taper off really quickly. So thank you very much. Conquer mountains, conquer life.